I had friends, but I didn't have the family.
Ah.
The friendship that comes with family. You get what I'm saying?
It's a different friendship.
Yeah, these strangers that become friends. Like I grew up with these people. Like these are my cousins that I call brothers and sisters.
This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
Our human instinct is to always run away from danger. Adversity is the boogeyman that nobody wants to meet face to face. We turn away and fight to survive another day. Once the monster sees you running, it fuels his power, making him grow exponentially. Before we know it, we turn around and that formidable opponent has now become overwhelming. What once caused fear and anxiety is now seen as certain demise. We can't run forever, and eventually we have to turn and face the beast. Our survival no longer depends upon escape, but hinges on the war. Our future depends on our willingness to engage in the battle. I'm Kevin Donaldson, always here with Mike Felice, and welcome to the Suffering Podcast. If you're a fan of overcoming adversity and overcoming suffering, then we're for you, because that's what we do here and that's the stories that we highlight. So do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, please comment, ring the bell so you can get notified of all of our new content. Now you can join. And of course, follow us on all social media so you can find out what we're up to. Tonight we have a full house, and we welcome Ed Bullock, Jason Antoinette, and my good friend Stuart Chiricella to discuss the suffering of On the Run. You have a story that, like, it was hard to nail it down what avenue to go down because it's got so many different factors in it. But thank you all for coming in. Thank you, Ed, for coming in and agreeing to do this.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Before we get into anything, let's throw a big shout out to our marquee sponsor. That's Toyota of Hackensack. We don't trust anybody as police or podcasters, but we do trust Toyota of Hackensack. So go to toyotahackensack.com and let them find you a car. So, gentlemen, each week we take a question from our audience. This week's question comes from Outlander15. It says, what was something that you quit that you've always regretted? Now, hindsight's always 20/20. And a lot of times we can't go back and fix what we do, but we can talk about it and we can pass it on to the next generation. That's why I like this question. So, Ed, you're our guest tonight. Let's put this one on you first. What do you think?
School. I wish I could go back and do it over. Even though I didn't like it as much, but I wish I could do it over.
If you can only shake that into the young people, it's like school's the best time of your life.
Right.
And they hate it. They all think, oh, it's so boring. It's awful. But
you need it.
You need it. Yeah, you definitely need it.
Yeah.
Jason, what do you think?
As far as me regretting or not, like, school was absolutely one of them. I was a good athlete. I didn't want to say that, but I love the streets more.
There's a draw to the streets.
Yeah.
You know, there's an allure. It's the grim finish below the glossy veneer.
Absolutely.
All right, that's the famous last scene in Gone in 60 Seconds. It's always stuck in my head by the Sphinx.
Right.
It's, you know, when you see the grim finish below the glossy veneer, because on the surface, the streets seem nice, shiny, give you everything you want, everything you never had. And it's not until you see what it really is, when you break down that outer layer. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Stewie?
Well, the two of them, they go hand in hand. High school football, because of drugs, without a doubt. I mean, if I wasn't high, there's no doubt I would have been playing. And then, you know, I remember this one kid in general, I begged him, don't quit. I did it. You're going to regret it the rest of your life. First was the football, then I'm 3 different high schools. Needless to say, I quit high school. Biggest regret.
Did you guys ever go back and finish?
GED.
GED.
You got your GED?
I had credits up until my see. What happened with me was I went to prison July 9th, I believe. I graduated the 24th. I only had a few more credits, so when I went down prison, I got all my credits. So I do have my high school diploma.
A high school diploma.
I got mine in rehab.
You got to get it somewhere, man. So for me, it's college football. Like I didn't quit, but I did quit. Mm-hmm. I got injured. With 3 games left to go, and the way it worked, because I kind of redshirted my freshman year, I I look back on it, and I was done. Like, I ripped my groin muscle where I had to have surgery. I ripped it. And you don't know humility until you have a bunch of Jamaican nurses working on your groin area and shaving you when you can't understand what they're saying. And it's cold in there. Listen, it's not usually, like, you just want to tell them, like, it's not usually this bad. It's just real cold. Can we turn down the AC a little bit? But, you know, I started to view football as like a job. I've been playing football since I was 7 years old, and I didn't want it anymore. I didn't have that drive anymore. Fast forward probably 10 years, I'm like, God, man, I just wish I could put the pads on one more time, you know, and be with the boys again,
Right.
and have that teamwork and have all the good things that football brings. Because football, in my opinion, and I coach now, is so far beyond the athletics. It's
Right.
got value. It teaches you life lessons, teaches you how to work with people, teaches you how to have controlled aggression.
Right.
Controlled aggression is a big thing. Aggressions can be a good thing if you learn to control them. That's what football does. Now, I have this sort of second chance with my kids. I'm able to go back. I'm able to coach football, and I'm able to instill in all those things that I wish somebody would have instilled in me as a kid. So I do have somewhat of a second chance, but I always regretted, you know, throwing up that white flag and saying, I'm done. I'm done. But unfortunately, all we can do is do the best with what we have moving forward. Sometimes it's not good to look back, but it's good to reminisce every once in a while.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Outlander15, thank you for sending that question in. Keep sending in your questions. We will try to get them on the air. And while you're at it, go over see Gus at Cubita Cafe. That's 234 Franklin Avenue. Gus is not in the food business. He's in the people business. Go there once and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Some of the best Cuban food I've ever had in my life. So much so that both my kids begged me to take them to 234 Franklin Avenue in Nutley and have a nice meal. So once again, go over see Gus at Cubita Cafe. Tell him the Suffering Podcast sent you. Guarantee you're going to have a good meal. So Ed, I've been hearing a lot about you from Stu. I'll get these occasional calls from Stu. It's like, hey, I got this guy for you. And Stu, the Hoboken connection in this studio, even when we were in the basement of my house, has been phenomenal. Like we've gotten so many guests, there's such an eclectic group of people that come from that 1 mile square town.
Right.
It's amazing. So I my hat's off to you, to Mike, to Palma, because they've opened up a whole new world. And Hoboken sort of just has this weird thing where they invite you in like family. But I do appreciate you coming in here because you got one hell of a story. I mean, I don't even know where to start. Okay, so let's do this. Let's start. Where'd you grow up? How'd you grow up?
I grew up between Jersey City and Bayonne. I stayed in Jersey City for most of my time, and I went to Virginia also, right? And it's a funny story because making my way to Virginia was my grandmother. I come from a very Christian family, and we were in the choir, all this other stuff.
What sect of Christianity?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was it like Baptist, Pentecostal?
More like
Baptist,
Baptist,
right?
More like
Baptist.
that. Okay. And the reason I ask you is because you got to know how religious. Baptists are really, really religious.
Yeah,
it's like Pentecostals, man. They spend all day on Sunday.
Yeah, my grandmother was that was my grandmother, and going to church every day, almost whatever. How many 2-3 times a week, and it was like, I'm not going to church, and she was like, yeah. I said, yeah, I'm not going. She was like, well, you got to get out of my house. And I packed my bag. I packed the poor man's suitcase.
Stick over the shoulder?
And the black trash bag. And my aunt was leaving. My aunt was leaving to Virginia. And I was like, can I go with you? And she was like, yeah, you can come with me. And I was there.
So this is your mother.
My mother's sister.
Your mother's sister said, if you don't go to church.
No, my mother's mother said that.
Your mother's mother said, if you don't go to church, you're out.
Yep.
Wow. That's Christian.
Yeah. Very.
That's like 400% Christian right there.
She was deep.
Right. And so between Jersey City, Bayonne, and Virginia, I was back and forth.
So where were your parents?
My mom was in Jersey City. My dad was in Jersey City.
Okay.
But they weren't together.
And you were living with your grandmother?
I was living with my mom. I was a house from basement to attic, all family.
Okay.
So you got to remember, it's
family
like,
reunions must have been real easy to get together.
Hell yeah. We didn't have to go anywhere. Just go in the backyard.
So everybody meet in the backyard now?
Right. So, you know, cousins, aunts, grandfather, grandmother, uncles, the whole family was in one house.
And what was that experience like? Did you like that, or is that just
Beautiful.
Not for you?
It was beautiful. You know, we were close. We were close. Now it's like we're separated. Everybody has their own family now. So, you know, I miss those times too, like just being there with a bunch of family.
Now, was your father present?
My father was present, but, you know, he had his own thing going. But he would come. When my mother called, he would show up. So he was never, I knew who my dad was. He wasn't an absentee dad. He was trying to get his life together. But he wasn't like drinking or drugging, but he was just doing his own thing.
Because, and the reason I'm curious about that is because I have this theory about fatherless homes, and it's good that your father was there, because
Right.
with a fatherless home, and you know, I know we live in this world where they said, you know, it doesn't matter whether you have a father or mother. It matters.
Right.
It matters a lot.
It does.
Fatherless homes, you get a strike against you
Yeah.
if that happens. So you go down to Virginia. Who'd you live with in Virginia? Your aunt?
My
Your
mom's
aunt?
sister.
Your aunt. Okay.
But, you know, we moved around because my aunt was in the Army. So we moved from town to town.
So you went from a house where
Everybody was there.
not chaos, but
Chaos. You could call it that.
No, you know, you were able to roam freely, you know, with all these different levels, and
Right.
each level had their own thing going, I'm sure.
Right.
And now you're in a military household.
I didn't like it very
You didn't
much.
take.
I didn't take to it. I didn't. But, you know, my mom thought it was the best for me.
Well, what was the one thing when you went from this house with all the family to the disciplined lifestyle? Can you pick out one thing that was sort of a culture shock to you?
I was lonely.
Looking for a friend.
I had friends, but I didn't have the family.
Ah.
The friendship that comes with family. You get what I'm saying?
It's a different friendship.
Yeah, these strangers that become friends. Like I grew up with these people. Like these are my cousins that I call brothers and sisters. So going down there was like, yeah, I don't know anybody, going to different schools. It was kind of hard for me, but I adjusted. And, you know, I made friends, and they became my family down there.
Well, that's a funny thing. So the way I grew up, I didn't have that structure of family at
Right.
home. It wasn't a good home. So my friends became my family. And I can't say it's better or worse. It's just different.
Right,
I've never had what you had.
right.
My grandfather's family, on the other hand, had what you had. You know, there was always two brothers or sisters living together. It was just the way it was. There was 9 of them.
Right.
But that's an intriguing type of lifestyle. So how old are you when you're living with your aunt?
I was down there, let me see, I was about 7, 8 years old. Somewhere around there. I stayed till I was about 14, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd you go from there?
My aunt got sick, and I guess she knew she was dying. She had cancer. And they shipped me back to Jersey. So I went back to Jersey City.
And who'd you go live with in Jersey
Now
City?
I'm living with my dad and my stepmother.
Okay, and was it any better, any worse?
It was almost sort of the same because I had to share a room with my brother, well, my stepbrother, but I call him my brother. You know, we all had this. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, and we had to share 3 of us in one room. My mother, and my father in another room.
Did you have any structure with your father, or you sort of let loose to?
No, I had structure, but it was loose. It was loose structure, but you knew when he said something, he meant it. You know, I had 2 black eyes before from him.
Because you had to be told twice?
No, one punch. One punch straight to the nose. Both eyes were black. So
Yeah, that was back in the day. I don't know how old you are, but that was back in the day when that was your adjustment.
yeah, that was a total attitude adjustment right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do that no more.
Hell no.
No, you know what? And here's the thing too. Here's something that, because I was struck frequently when I was a kid, but it never worked. Not with me. You know, it just listen, if I'm going to get hit, I'm going to do something to deserve it.
Right, right.
You know, that was my attitude. And there was never a fear. And as I grew and got bigger, and it like, all right, whatever, do what you're going to do. So then you have a life-changing event. And I'm going to call it your first life-changing event with your mom.
My mom died while I was down south.
Oh, when you're with your aunt.
When I was with my aunt. My mom was up here trying to better her life. Like, you know, she wasn't, like I said, my father was in the drugs, my mother was in the drugs or nothing. But she was just trying to make a better life for me and her. And she got engaged to this cop, and he shot her 3 times in the head.
Holy cow.
Yeah, Bayonne cop. So I hate Bayonne. I have resentments of going to Bayonne.
Was it like a lover's quarrel type of thing?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us about the incident. Let's get into that.
From what I understand, I don't like really speaking on it, but I'll speak on it. My mom was cheating on my dad. I mean, my mom was cheating on her fiance with my dad.
Oh.
And the fiance found out.
Wow.
And she came home. They had words and whatever. I don't know full details, but I guess they argued and he shot her.
So what happened to the Bayonne cop?
He went to jail for like, this is a horrific story. Like, he called into the precinct to tell, and they picked him up like he was like they picked him up as a cop. They didn't pick him up as somebody who killed somebody.
What year are we talking?
1989.
1989. I can see it.
Right.
I can see it because it was a much different time then.
Right.
Not good.
Nah.
Not good. You know, we take an oath to uphold the law.
Right.
As a police officer, and when you don't uphold the law, all of a sudden you go back into Gen Pop.
Right.
And that's the way it should have been done. So he gets. Do you know how much time he got?
12 years.
12 years for murder.
Right.
For what is it? Passion provocation? Did they put it on?
I don't know. I was too young, and my grandmother, the judge wanted me to come to the courthouse, and my grandmother said no.
Yeah, maybe they were trying to get him some more time. That might
Yeah.
have been why they were doing it. So now let's talk about. So the last time you see your mother is laying in a box.
Yes.
Tell me, can you remember what's going through your head at 9?
I just was heartbroken. Like, my best friend is gone. Like, I had all these people in my life, but not like, having your mother is something different.
Well, an opening question, a social media question was, something that you regret. It was about regret, right?
Yeah.
Is there something that you wish you would have said to your mother?
No, she knew. We would talk. When I was in Virginia, she would call me all the time, often.
Yeah.
And say, we would have sit on the phone for however long, and we would talk.
Yeah, you're a baby boy, of course.
Right. Only child.
Oh.
Yeah, my father has all the kids.
Father setting up franchises?
Yeah. It's five biological and 3 step sips. Well, it's 3 step kids he has.
And then you. So that's 9.
No. It's 5 of us.
There's 5 of you.
5 all together from him.
From him and 3 stepchildren.
And 3 stepchildren.
It's like the Brady Bunch.
Hell yeah.
Papa was a rolling stone.
Hell yeah.
Your father couldn't afford cable?
No. He said, fuck TV.
Easy, I got 6.
6? You guys got to find a new hobby, man.
And I got
Just
4.
had one.
And I
Just
just
had a new one.
and I got
Just born 2 weeks.
and I got 4.
You got 4. You're trying to repopulate the world, aren't
Yes, man. My name has to live on forever.
you? Oh, yeah. It's going to live on several times over. Multiply. So what does life look like after your mother's death? You're dealing. So kids have a funny way of dealing with tragedy.
I never really dealt with anything of that nature. Like, I didn't go to therapy. I didn't do anything. I just grieved a lot. Like, held a lot of anger.
Yeah. How did it manifest itself? How did it come out?
I was very abusive to people. Verbal, physical.
Like bullyish type stuff?
Not bullyish, but like, you can say that. But no, I wasn't bullying people, but I was just an asshole. Yeah.
It's all right. Listen, I was a bully when I was a kid.
Oh.
And there's a reason I was a bully when I was a kid, because I wasn't okay. And if you were to go bully somebody, coaching youth sports, okay, I am very tuned into the kids' personal lives. Because if their parents are going through a divorce, well, I got to know that stuff, because I got to look out for certain cues in their personality. If their personality changes,
Right.
And I deal with that accordingly. But if I don't know that stuff, nobody who is okay acts like that,
Right.
like you acted after your mom. And there's a reason why you're not okay, and it's acceptable. But if nobody knows that, then they're going to think, oh, you know what, Ed was just a rotten kid.
Yeah.
Well,
I was just terrible. I wasn't horrible. Like, doing like burning down buildings and shit, but I was breaking in schools and I was rebelling against everything. Like anything you say, I don't care how bad I got a beating with a bat. That's how bad I was.
Well, you're trying to find your place in this world, good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah.
So, you know, it's I don't know. It was like I grieved and like no, now I'm still grieving.
You're going to grieve for the rest of your life.
Right.
And that's perfectly fine. It's
Right.
perfectly fine. But the whole purpose of this show is to take that pain that you have and to try to transform it so it doesn't eat you alive inside, but you
Right.
can actually use it for something. Now, is there other ways? Did you turn to drugs? Outside of drinking?
Yeah, drugs wasn't I tried drugs, but it wasn't a thing. Like, nah, I wasn't that didn't sit right with me. Drinking made me feel whole.
What was your drink?
Everything. I didn't have nothing specific to drink.
What age are you talking about here where you started drinking a little bit?
The key component to any law enforcement officer being the best version of themselves is through education. Sherry Alsop is a leader in providing that education to police agencies, preparing them for the all too frequent dealings with sexual assault victims.
You've seen Sherry on episode 169 of the Suffering Podcast. She survived incest and almost daily sexual assault, so she comes from a place of experience and true understanding.
Sherry has the intelligence, commitment, and compassion to open the eyes of those on the front lines, while providing the tools to effectively deal with a difficult situation. Sherry's instruction comes from experience and multiple certifications.
Training with Sherry will offer on-site training, customized schedules, specialized instruction tailored from a victim's perspective.
You are going to hear Sherry's heart-wrenching but inspiring survivor story. Learn proprietary trauma-informed training techniques, uncovered victim-centered interview methods while earning continuing education credits according to your state guidelines. To be the best, you must learn from the best. Let Sherry also guide you through the delicate cases of sexual assault from a victim's point of view.
Be a source of comfort to those victims affected by these traumatic experiences while producing a solid investigation and uncovering details that often go unnoticed.
To find out more or to contact Sherry Alsop, go to sherryalsop.com. That's SherryAllsup.com.
The first drink I had was a bottle of a 40 of
Old English?
no St. Ives.
St.
Ives.
Just Mad Dog. Why don't you just go Mad Dog? That's what we have when
For
I grew
what?
up.
That's weak.
Mad Dog?
Yeah, that
Bottle
was
of Mad
weak.
Dog before high school, man.
I drunk a pint of that, but like just guzzled it.
So so you know Mad Dog, okay?
Yeah.
So I used to drink it in high school all the time because it was cheap, man.
Right.
It was like $2 and it was like $2.50. And years ago, before I got sober, I went down to it was a family reunion, and somebody gets me a bottle of Mad Dog. It's kind of like an old time sake, and I was deep already drinking, like I was deep already, and I drank the whole bottle of Mad Dog. I have never had a hangover like that in my life. All that sugar,
Right.
oh my God.
Nasty.
Kiwi lime.
Kiwi lime.
Kiwi lime.
Ew.
The green one, man. It looked like antifreeze.
Right.
Yeah. It was bad, dude. It was bad.
It could be worse. It would have been Cisco. We drank Cisco.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that too.
Cisco's good too.
Cisco, Boone's Farm.
Boone's Farm.
Whatever was cheap.
Night Train.
How about
No,
rock and
no.
rye? Rock and rye with the
Rock-
fake worm
yeah.
in it. Oh my God, they have pints.
Night Train.
Yeah.
So Night Train and
Oh, that was rough.
Thunderbird.
Thunderbird.
Right.
Night Train and Thunderbird. If I drank that, then I'm fighting.
Right.
That night always ended in a fight.
Night Train, nasty.
Yeah.
Thunderbird, nasty.
Thunderbird will fuck you up.
Right.
This is all throughout high school that you're doing this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. How bad did it get?
I wouldn't do it in school. I wasn't drinking in school. Like to wake up to go to school. Once I got out of school, it was over. I was off to races.
Now this ultra religious grandmother, she's still in the picture.
No, she passed away.
She passed away. So who's watching you?
At this time,
Yeah.
I'm with my father.
You're with your father. That's right.
Right.
You did say it.
So he has to kind of keep an eye on me and my brother that lives with him, and then my stepbrothers. So it's like I have these 4 boys in my house that I gotta watch, and he can't keep an eye on all of us. He can't.
It's
So
the law of averages.
yeah. So my brother, which is his son,